Hey everybody, and welcome to the final part of the Bumbly Beach park playthrough. So in the last episode, we continued to fill out the rest of the map. I think we got to about an 80 or 90% completion stage with the available land. So we added 2 racing steeplechases, a few flat rides, another car ride, and a miniature railway, and also made some pretty substantial modifications to Big Dipper. We added in that long diagonal section that sort of takes it from the top part of the map to sort of the bottom near some of the houses. I'm sure they'll love a coaster flying past their window every few minutes. But yeah, we got to that stage of about a 80 or 90% completion, and I ended up doing a lot of decorating last episode too, because we had a pretty good base income going, and yeah, we could finally afford to sort of go all out and add in lots more scenery, and made a little bit of a pond as well for the log flume too. So yeah, as you just saw, we purchased a few construction rights over on sort of the corner of the map here. Now, this is something I had kind of hinted at in the last episode, in that I wanted to get a bit of a pier going, using some of the construction rights and the space out outside of the map onto the sand and into the water. So that's what we're going to have a go at doing this episode, and where we'll be spending the majority of the building time here. So I did add in the spiral slide as well, finally. Finally found a home for it. Spoiler alert, I do move it one more time. This is something, a ride that I've tried to put in numerous times in the park already, but just, I don't know, just ended up not being totally satisfied with where it was, or replaced it with another ride, like when I unlocked the Gravitron. But yeah, so I do go in and fill in a few other sections of the map, like the sort of kids area over here near the sort of blue flyer recreation. I also make a few changes, or one final change to the this truck ride as well, because I don't know, just I wasn't completely satisfied with the sort of open space in that turnaround, and just felt like it needed something else there. I think that's a consequence of the rest of the map looking sort of crowded, I guess, or lots of other ride interactions going on, and it just felt like this ride was sort of sitting out there by itself. So yeah, just wanted to get a little bit of interaction going, and yeah, it was a small change, but I don't mind the final look of it. Added in a few of those Wonderland theme buildings as well, just because I didn't intend to research the Wonderland scenery. I just kind of left it on by mistake in the research settings, so I thought, well, I may as well use a few of the pieces, and to be honest, I think they fit pretty well in that sort of kids area too. So yeah, threw a few of those pieces in, and a few of the mushroom scenery pieces too, which I think look really good actually, especially amongst or scattered amongst the smaller trees and shrubs around the place. But yeah, so anyway, back to the pier here. So probably thinking it's kind of a weird spot for the Ferris wheel to be sitting, and I definitely agree. I wish I could sort of put it in a more like a spot further down the pier, but unfortunately in RCT 1 or RCT Deluxe, as I'm playing here, you can't use the shift key to elevate rides and scenery. So the only way I could sort of get the Ferris wheel and the launch freefall here sort of outside the park boundary was to raise the land on the inside of the park map, and then sort of just straddle the park boundary. Yeah, just have it sitting across the fence. So it doesn't look the greatest, but unfortunately it was the only option, and I don't know, I feel like the Ferris wheel and the launch freefall just they fit a pier quite well. So yeah, definitely wanted to get one in there. Unfortunately, yeah, it just basically the only place I could do it. But I think they ended up looking fairly decent there. Also kind of start out a bit of a corkscrew coaster, sort of just as a placeholder for now, just because I wanted to make sure that it looked sensible and I could get it around the launched freefall tower there. For those of you who are coaster enthusiasts, you might be able to guess what sort of coaster or what real life coaster I'm going to have a go at doing somewhat of a recreation of. But before I could sort of finish that off, I really wanted to get the this wooden wild mouse coaster in, just because I thought it's going to be by far the cheaper of the two coasters here. As you can see, I'm sort of struggling for time. It's already September year 2, and I just thought it would be wise to get the cheaper coaster completed and open and draw some more guests in and let that make at least a little bit of money, and then we'll finish the larger coaster off afterwards. Also had to get in the pathing as well, which elevated path, it's actually reasonably expensive, especially when you get 2 or 3 height units off the ground. It can add up really quickly. As well as that, of course, I had to buy the construction rights too, and even though we had a lot of money coming in, I was chewing through it basically as soon as I was getting it. So just the construction rights, I think, were only like $30 or $40 a tile, but again, that just adds up really quickly. But yeah, so the Wild Mouse, it's not really based on any layout in particular. It's sort of just taking standard elements of a Wild Mouse, just with lots of switchbacks. It's not as wide as I typically like to make Wild Mouse coasters. They're only the switchback sections are only sort of 3 tiles across, which, I don't know, it looks a little bit funny, and you can't put in the sort of 1 height unit drop in because you need 2 tiles just to do that bit. So yeah, it's just the back and forth section is sort of flat, and then it sort of backs around onto itself, and then does another one underneath the main one, and then finishes off with a sort of steep drop back up into the station. It's pretty simple, but I think it's nice and compact, and it did its job pretty well, I thought. One thing I got pretty lucky about with the Wild Mouse was the fact that I didn't really plan for a queue and exit path very well. I planned the entrance and exit building. I put that in like pretty early on just to make sure I wouldn't block myself in. But the pathing ended up being quite easy to put in, just because I didn't have any coaster track sort of at that station height, apart from on the edge of the coaster. So yeah, getting the path was pretty straightforward. After that was done, it was time to finish off that Corkscrew coaster, which you can probably see is a sort of attempted recreation of the West Coaster at Santa Monica Pier. It's kind of an awkward one to recreate, just because the helix is, I think the small helix in RCT is too small, and the large one is probably a little bit too big. But I think the larger one made sense to use in this instance, just because I wanted to get the launched freefall sort of in between, and I don't think that would be possible using the small helixes. As well as that, it's also got a small... It's not a completely rectangular layout, in that after the first helix, you go down, do a few drops, and then it sort of goes on a bit of a 20-30 degree heading from there, which I've sort of tried to do with a small diagonal section. And then it's got a sort of in-between size helix after that. So I just used I think I used a small and large combination a piece there, and then a sloped turn afterwards, and then a sloped climb back up into the station. So yeah, it was a kind of an awkward little layout to do, but yeah, I don't mind the final look of it. And yeah, the stats were pretty terrible. I think it's getting a stat penalty or two, but that's fine. I mean, if you watch a point of view video, of that coaster in real life. It's a pretty family friendly style ride. So yeah, I was happy enough with those stats. I could still charge like $7 or $8 a ticket as well, which is pretty ridiculous. But anyway, after that, I added in the queue and exit path for the coaster, and finally finished off sort of the main body of the pier, which was a little bit nerve-wracking because I was getting very close to the scenario end time. Just had a few more little gaps to fill in here. You just saw, I think, where I moved the spiral slide for the last time. That's definitely its final home, and I hope it's happy there. It's had quite the journey, that spiral slide. Moved in the motion simulator into its old spot. I just think that was a better spot for a simulator rather than a spiral slide, just because it was, I don't know, the spiral slide felt like it was sort of hidden there. And I think it makes sense to have that in a slightly more open area. I go in and add a few stalls to the base of the pier, as well as a few little pathing or seating areas next to the freefall. I wanted to make sure I didn't chop away too many of the coaster supports, just because I always think that looks a little bit funny. So yeah, just did that, added a bunch of small shrubs around the spiral slide, as well as along the diagonal section of train track, which I think ended up looking pretty nice. I really like that sort of rich green shrub, especially in contrast with the brown dirt textures. Yeah, I think that looked surprisingly good. I was happy with how that worked out. And then the steeplechases. So now I was really wanting to do a hedge maze just underneath this little section here where I'm adding all the shrubs and well, hedge fencing. But unfortunately I ran out of time to unlock it. The next gentle ride that I was going to unlock was a chairlift, which I really wasn't going to be able to fit into the park. So yeah, ended up just putting in a bunch of hedge scenery pieces and lots of shrubs as well, just to sort of make that a real lush sort of green area. I do mix up some of the darker green shrubs as well. Yeah, I wanted to take a few elements from the Blackpool Pleasure Beach steeplechase as well. I think there was from what I remember, there was a few sort of nice hedged sections where you sort of, the coaster track sort of goes over the top of, which I think looked really nice. But in lieu of the hedge maze, I did unlock the swinging inverter ship. And something that had been sort of bugging me for a while in the playthrough was the fact that this steel mini coaster here with the rocket cars, it was sort of, even though it was nice and compact, it somehow just looked like, it looked like there was lots of empty space within. And given that I'd filled in just about every gap in the park up to this point, it looked sort of out of place. It just didn't really fit the theme of the rest of the park. So yeah, wanted to cram one ride in here, and fortunately the swinging inverter ship is the perfect one to do that. I think it looks kind of neat, just wedged into this series of stacked turnarounds on the coaster. Just polishing up a few things in the park to finish off, including some extra mushroom scenery pieces in that kids area, and then I also go in and add what is meant to be a bit of a breakwater for the pier, just because I thought, like, if there was a coaster at the end of a pier like this, I would probably want some sort of protection from waves crashing into those supports and just eroding them over time. So that's what I used a bit of monorail track to do there. Which I think, looks a little bit funny perhaps, but I think that's just about it in terms of the build. Passed the scenario objective reasonably comfortably in the end. These early ones generally aren't too difficult in terms of their objective, but thank you all very much for watching. We'll finish off the video here by following along all the coasters as we usually do. And at the end I'll do a few sort of before and after shots as well. Thank you all very much for watching, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much, and cheers. Bye.